In this video, we're going to go over how to fully disassemble the Xbox One power supply, so that way you can clean it out, check for any damages, and replace the fan if it's damaged. So we're going to do this without any cuts, so you can follow me along all the way. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to need are a pair of tweezers that are sharp. We're going to need a PH2 driver. We're also going to need a PH0 driver head, that's smaller. And we're also going to need a T10 security screw. All right, so to get these pads off the bottom here first, we're gonna need our sharp tweezers. You're gonna go around at a 45-degree angle to get underneath the pad. And then that way, you don't damage the actual pad itself. And you could find this hole, and you could shove the tweezers in there, and then you could pry it up, and it pops right out. And that is what that looks like that you're trying to find. There's a little hole that's rubberized. You can see it right there. And that's what you're trying to find to shove the tweezers in. And with that, you can take it out without damaging anything. What I do always when replacing these, I always put the holes towards the center, so that way it's easy to find for the next time. Okay, so with that aside, we can go over to our T10 security screw, and we'll get these 4 screws out. All right, so now with that, we can flip this over, take off the top. You just simply pull it up. And as you do, there's a wire here that is for the fan. We could pull this straight up and it disconnects the fan. You'll see in this corner, this is how you see the amber light or green light or white light for the device. So this is just set in there. You could simply just pull that out and it'll come right out. For the motherboard, it is kind of held in there. So take this side where you plug in the outlet, you can lift up on that side and pull towards that. Then you can lift the whole thing up. So from here you have full access to clean the motherboard and all the components. Do not stick anything metal around here. Definitely just use very light cleaning supplies on this thing, and yeah, you'll be safe, because some of these capacitors do hold charge still and you can be shocked. So now you have access to the bottom there. So now, if you need to get to the fan to get that cleaned out or get that replaced, we have the top panel here. To remove the fan, you're gonna need your PH0. Take out these 2 smaller screws on the left. And with just those 2 removed, you have full access to the fan cage. Before we get to that, let's get the rest of this thing apart. Underneath the fan cage, there is a little guide here. That is just set in place. You slide that up from the rail, so you can clean out any of the dust. And also on this side is some more guides, which are also PH0 screws. Go ahead and take out those 2. And with the slight pull up, you can also gain access to those vents. And now you have full access to clean every inch of this device. So now for the fan, if you're just gonna replace a damaged fan, on the back side, you're gonna take these 2 screws out, which are the PH2 screw heads. And then you're gonna feed the cable through the side here. And get these screws out of the way. Now you have access to the entire fan cage itself. And you have access to the fan either to be replaced, or you could even go further to clean out all the blades by going and taking out these 4 small screws. This is also using the PH0 screw. And now with those 4 removed, you can pull off the cover and gain access to all the fins to clean fully. All right, so now with all that, let's get this thing back together, full assembly. So now, which way the lid goes, there's a little notch on this bottom here. That's always gonna go over the wires themselves. And also this corner has a little cutout on it, which is also cut out here. We'll get our 4 smaller long screws back. Now this is plastic, so you do not need to go hard on these. Just make it level. As soon as you get any kind of tightness, go ahead and stop. If not, you will strip the plastic and the screws will not hold as they should. All right, so now back on the cover, there is a slit on this side where we could feed the cable back through. And the 4 screws that we've put in are going to be facing up. So now with those, we're going to hold it and pinch it so that way we can get our PH2 screws back in here. Just 2 of them. And same concept here, it is plastic, so you're just going to tighten it down till you feel a little bit of resistance and you're done. Now with the screws still facing up, we're going to take it so that these 2 screws are on the left here. Well, actually we need to get this placed back in here, the little vent area. I don't believe it matters which way it goes, it just needs to slide back in here. Again, just the little rails there, fits right in there. And now it's seated. So now we grab our vent fan. Put that back in position. It will just slide in place here and be taut. All right, and now we'll grab our other 2 small screws. So that's the full fan cage reassembly, and I will get this other vent back over here. The entire vent side that's bulging out will be going down. So once that is in place, we'll grab the other 2 screws. Now with those done, we have full reassembly of the top of the power supply. Now we're going to take the bottom of the power supply and the motherboard itself. Now what we're going to do is take this side with it. We're going to hook it underneath in these little hooks that you can see there. We're going to angle it like that. Slide it underneath those hooks first. Now, once that's in position, you just make sure that this cable is loose for now. And we're gonna come back over here and line this up in the rails. So that's slid down. And last thing we wanna check is make sure that the motherboard is all the way around those screw holes there, which will apply a little bit more force, and it just popped right into place. Now for this cable, it's cut out in a square here, just like how it is here. It's a square. Line that up so it's fully flat. Now we're gonna grab our little light piece here. The light is right next to this cable, which again, it just sits in place. Lights are here, so it's gonna go through this thicker part first, then this is the part we're gonna see on the outside. So that just sits in place there. Grab our fan again. It goes this way. Grab the cable. There are little guides here on the side, and there is a little piece right there. Slide that little piece on this motherboard in between those two guides. And with that replaced, we could take the entire case, squeeze it back together. Again, just making sure that that piece is properly seated, and the entire outside is fully seated as well. Go ahead and grab our 4 screws, put those in place. Again, these are going to be our T10 security screws. And we'll get these just tightened down. And again, can't stress enough, we are screwing into plastic. So again, just go to where it's just tight, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. And like I mentioned earlier too as well, is with the feet, go ahead and find out where that little hole is where the tweezers can fit into. And again, face those towards the center, so that way you can always come back to them easy the next time. And again, we're just going to be pushing these right back into position. And that is how we take apart and reassemble the entire Xbox One power supply. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and check out any of my more videos on the Xbox. And if you like what you see, go ahead and get subscribed. And again, I'm gonna be doing this for a lot of consoles, so definitely check out all my videos, and I'll see you next time.